Somewhere in Moscow, there is a building most Russians will never enter. It has no public address, no sign. Inside that building are files on foreign politicians and businessmen, thousands of them. The agency guarding these records is the FSB. The Russian term for the contents of these files is Kompromat. It is a doctrine of compromising material inherited directly from the KGB, collecting damaging information, not necessarily for blackmail, but to influence or neutralize a target. In 2016, a classified British intelligence assessment alleged that Russia had developed these files on Donald Trump during his Moscow visits. While the specific details were disputed, the underlying practice was well documented. Former MI6 officer Christopher Steele told investigators that this type of collection is standard operating procedure for the FSB. It is the baseline for how they interact with Western political figures. In 2022, a leaked FSB internal document authenticated by intelligence expert Andrei Soldatov revealed the scale of this practice. It suggested that active surveillance operations were running on political figures across at least 30 countries. The ultimate goal of these files is silent ownership. By maintaining these records, the Kremlin gains the ability to neutralize foreign decision-makers before they even realize they are being influenced. This strategy of managing reality is also deployed at home. Since February 2022, the Kremlin's official narrative has maintained that military deaths in Ukraine stand at just over 6,000. Independent analysis tells a different story. Mediazona and BBC Russia verified over 47,000 confirmed military deaths. But when including the seriously wounded, military analysts estimate the true casualty figure exceeded 300,000 by late 2025. The evidence is written in the soil. The physical expansion of military cemeteries reveals a human cost that the state's official reporting simply ignores. To maintain the lie, the Kremlin has classified battlefield casualty data. Families who publicly contradict the official numbers can be charged under wartime censorship laws, carrying sentences of up to 15 years in prison. In Russia, the true scale of the war is a state secret. It is a managed reality where millions of families are forced to live inside a count that doesn't include their own sons. While the state manages the count of dead soldiers, it has simultaneously erased a specific class of financial liabilities. Since 2022, at least 14 senior Russian business executives have died under circumstances Western intelligence considers suspicious. The deaths follow a specific pattern. Ravil Meganov fell from a window. Yuri Voronov shot in his pool. Alexander Subbotin died in a ritual. Former CIA Director David Petraeus identified a potential logic behind these deaths at a public forum in 2023. These executives possessed operational knowledge of the mechanisms used by Russian elites to move wealth out of the country through Western financial institutions and shell companies. These were not random accidents. They were the elimination of witnesses. By removing the men who built the state's hidden financial architecture, the Kremlin ensures those secrets remain permanently buried. The Kremlin's ability to maintain secret programs was confirmed in 1992, when Boris Yeltsin admitted that the Soviet Union had operated Biopreparat, one of the largest biological weapons programs in history. This admission revealed that for decades, the Soviets had been in direct violation of the 1972 Biological Weapons Convention, which they had publicly signed and endorsed. Yeltsin promised the program was being dismantled. However, defector Ken Alibek told Congress that the infrastructure and the scientific knowledge simply moved into facilities operating under new institutional names. In 2018, the deployment of Novichok on British soil proved that Russia had preserved and weaponized a nerve agent that officially did not exist. This was a state-authorized hit using a classified chemical weapon in a foreign country. This deployment of a non-existent chemical agent forces a difficult question for Western analysts. If Russia maintained its chemical capabilities in secret, what remains of the biological programs they lied about for 50 years? The pattern is consistent: casualty suppression, the elimination of executives, and the preservation of prohibited weapons. Each is a component of a strategy built on deniability. The question Western intelligence cannot fully answer is this: how much of that gathered kompromat has already influenced our own world? How many policies have been softened or investigations slowed because of leverage we cannot see? Unlike China's visible, data-driven surveillance state, Russia's system relies on invisible weight. It is influence built on files that may never be opened and leverage that remains unconfirmed. This is the ultimate danger of the Kremlin's doctrine. You cannot dismantle a threat you cannot definitively prove exists, even if you can already feel its effects.